Welcome to this little screencast, and in this screencast I want to show you how to program a Sailfish OS application. First of all, what's Sailfish OS? Sailfish OS is the unofficial successor of the Migo Harmattan, the smartphone or operating system that was shipped with the Nokia N9, the last big Nokia Linux smartphone. And the guys that developed this smartphone, they have created their own company called Jolla, and they are developing now an unofficial successor to this operating system called Sailfish OS and want to ship a new device with it. And in this little screencast I will demonstrate you how easy it is to write an application for the Sailfish OS. First of all, you need to get the Sailfish OS SDK. You can get it from sailfishos.org. Here you have the option to just download the Linux 32-bit, 64-bit, Windows or OS 10 version of the SDK, and you have some options just like, for example, a documentation for the design, so you get some basic inspiration on how you want to design new applications. You get the overview of the UX framework from Sailfish OS, the launcher, the home screen, the apps, the events, the gestures, the home screen, and so on. And yeah, I want to show you the basic concept of how to begin with programming for the Sailfish operating system. It's very easy because they ship with a full-fledged SDK. I just installed this SDK, and just let me type in Sailfish in here. They ship with an IDE, which is basically the Qt Creator IDE, a little bit tweaked to fit the needs of the Sailfish operating system. Of course, you get all the templates, you get links, just like, for example, to the Sailfish UI or UX documentation. And you have the option to just simply go to examples and see some examples, just like, for example, the media gallery, a very fancy demo application, and the components application, or the components demo application that allows you to see all the different components and how you can use or make use of them in the Sailfish operating system. It's very handy and very nice. So let's start with our first application. I have written the last couple of days a nice application almost completely in QML itself. It's called todo, and let me open this up. It's a project that simply it's a merge of a note-taking application and a to-do application, and I grabbed the first two letters and put them together, and so the name Noto was born basically. And as you can see here, I've opened the project, and what do you see here is just simply there's a QML folder with all the QML stuff, so QML, descriptive language, and JavaScript-like language that allows you to just simply build your whole UI elements and so on. Very easy, very quickly done. And then there's of course C++ code and so on, but don't be afraid. In this application basically I've written a note-taking and a to-do application without even touching the C++ that the project itself created. So what you can do to create a new project is just go to File, New, and here you get a template called Sailfish OS, Sailfish OS Qt Quick Application. If you click on this, it will then just generate something very similar to what you see here. So I did not touch the C++ files from the original template, so they are just like they were in the template. The only thing that I touched is the QML files. And yeah, before I start going into the source code and showing you the different things that are there and how easy it is to just simply put something together, I will show you first of all the application itself. Therefore, because there are no Sailfish OS devices currently at the moment, there's only the Nokia N9 and the Nokia N950 that run Sailfish OS, but there are no images for them. So even if you have one of those devices, you cannot test it. But you have an emulator shipped with the Sailfish OS SDK, and you can start this by clicking on the bottom left here, Start the Emulator. This will start basically the Sailfish OS emulator for smartphone. And what you need to have also is a bridge from the Qt Creator IDE to this virtual smartphone operating system. As you can see, it's a little bit small, but you can see here there are two applications only available: feeds with no content currently, and the demo application for the components, as you can see here. I have different components in here, buttons, combo boxes, menus, sliders, and so on. And I can click here, for example, on combo boxes and see how they work and how they behave, which is a nice option. Yeah, this is basically the demo application, one of the demo applications. But I won't go into detail on how you use Sailfish OS yet, but you will get an idea when I show you the application itself. So what you need is a bridge between the emulator and the Qt Creator IDE, and this bridge is created or can be created when you click on this little play button in here. It will ask you to start the virtual machine Mare SDK. What's Mare? Mare is basically the base operating system underneath from Sailfish OS. So it's basically Mare was created as a successor to Migo earlier, before Sailfish OS came into existence. So Sailfish OS said, of course, we will base our base on the Mare SDK or on the Mare operating system, and we will only then bring the upper levels, just like for example UI, design, and so on, to our system. Because the Mare SDK or the Mare operating system just ships only with the bare components, no graphical components or something like this. So let's start the Mare SDK. You don't need to touch this Mare SDK, just wait until it's finally booting up. And yeah, this is all. You can just minimize this. And yeah, what you can do now is just simply press the play button again, and then it will just start deploying the application and run it on the Sailfish OS emulator. And here you have it, my Noto application. And as you can see here, I already have a test node in here. So let me just delete this test node. You can see I have a context menu, of course. I can click delete and get a nice little animation that allows me to, in 5 seconds, abort the deletion if I don't want to delete it, really. Otherwise it will delete this entry. And this is basically the application when you first start it. It's of course telling you the application name, Noto, and telling you please create a node or to-do. And how you can create a node or to-do is very easy, very simply, because Sailfish OS has a nice pull down menu. So you pull down and you have a pull down menu here, and you can just then add a node or add a to-do. Let me just add a node here. We get a new page. We have the option to just simply use the virtual keyboard here, but as I'm running this on a physical machine with physical keyboard, I can just simply type in here test node, for example, and or this is a test node, this is a test node, and the title of the node test. Then just simply pull down again, hit save, and now it's saved. I can go back and you see now I have on my list here my test node. I can go back in here and change something, like for example test 2, save this again, go back, go to test again. As you can see, it saved this node. So very easy node taking application, nothing spectacular. The next thing that we want to do is create a to-do, which is a little bit interesting here because yeah, to-dos. Let's create a to-do. What you see here is basically you have also the option to set a title for the to-do. Let me say title today, and please insert a to-do in here. So what you do is just pull down, and we have the option to insert a to-do and the option to save. Let me just insert the to-do, and as you can see here, we get a new to-do entry in here, and I can just simply type in something in here, just like for example create screencast, and then I have a little bubble in here. I can check this if this to-do is already ready or not, and I can save this. And if I go back, you can see I have now my test node and my today to-do list. So this is basically the application, not very spectacular, as you can see. And one thing that I want to mention also is you have a pull up menu also. If I scroll down a little bit, this is very handy if you have lots and lots of nodes and lots of to-dos in this list. The list can be quite long, and if you scroll down, and you see my node is my node I want to just simply open is very at the top of my list. You can just simply pull up and have the option to return to the top. It will automatically scroll to the top of the list, which is very easy. And this also works for the I think No, it does not work, but I can make it work for the to-dos in here as well if I'd like to. So now let's get to the source code a little bit. First of all, there is another thing that I want to show you. Might be very interesting. If I just simply minimize this, you get this little cover view, and this cover view allows you to you can just simply customize this cover view. In this case, I just simply put an auto in here in the middle and 2 icons, and those icons are cover action items or quick launch items. So I can just simply hover here and then swipe from left to right to just simply open up my notes. Or what I can also do is swipe from right to left to open up my to-do list. And this is basically the cover view. And this is also done in QML, and I will show you this later on here in the main QML file. So let's open up the main QML file. As you can see, nothing spectacular. It's importing some libraries, the QtQuick 1.1 library, so it's not based on Qt 5, it's based on Qt 4. Sailfish Cilicia 1.0 libraries. This is basically the Sailfish OS buttons and drawings and layouts and all the stuff that you need to program with. It's importing the pages folder, which is in here, and this is the folder where I have my first page. First page is basically the initial page with the listing of all my to-dos and notes. And then you have a note and a to-do page, which are basically the pages for the note and the to-do list. Then we have an element in main QML application window, and this has an initial page, which is basically our first page. So this is the first page that it will launch if you click or open up the application. And then you have also the option to add a cover, and this is the cover that you saw or still can see in here. And this is basically under cover page QML. So we have another folder here, the cover page QML. I can show you the cover page QML. As you can see here, very easy, a rectangle with anchors fill. Of course, it's filling all the space available. Color black. I can change this to something else. Let me go in here. It's black. I can make it white or whatever I want to here as a color. I can also add something fancy like images or something like in the background if I'd like to, or create a snapshot of my running application and then put it as a background in here. And then I have my label here, as you can see, centered in the parent, which is called Noto. So this is centered in the parent. And then you have a cover action list. This is basically the 2 actions that you can perform. Creating a new note, creating a new to-do. As you can see here, I have a cover action with an icon source coming from directly from the theme here. I just simply search for some icons that are appropriate to this, and then I have on triggered, which will just put a page, push a new page on the stack, which is in this case the note for creating a new note, or the to-do for creating a new to-do. So very easy. Now let's go to the first page. As you can see, let me go back to the emulator first page. As you can see here, we have Noto as the title, we have our list in here, and we have our pull down menu and our pull up menu. And let me go in the source code and tell you all about this again. So let's first go to the list. Here we have our list, Cilicia list view. This is how it's called. And this list has, of course, a model. A model is something like the data inside the list, so our entries basically, the data in here, so the test and the today. And this data is just put in the list model called Noto model, and this is just, as you can see here, empty list. And this empty list is filled with a database that I get from here when all components are loaded. So my first page is loaded, I initialize the database if it's not already initialized, and get all my notes and all my to-dos and put them in the Noto model, and then they get just simply shown on the page or in the list view. Of course, width, heights, some anchors in here, then the page header. Noto, of course, so the header, as you can see here. And then we have a placeholder that says please create a Noto to do. This is basically the placeholder when you don't have any content in the list view, which is pretty nice. Then we have the pull down menu in here with add note and add to do. So the two entries here, and when you click on them, on those entries, they will push a new page, the node or the to-do QML page, so those two pages in here up. There's a little parameter I gave them. It's a data container root. In this case, root is the page in here, so my first page. This is only because otherwise the node QML does not have any access to my root page, and I have some functions in here, just like, for example, add a node to the list, add a to-do to the list, or get nodes or set the nodes. So I need to have access to those functions, so I just simply gave the parameter data container root. In this case, we will see later on where this appears in the node and to-do list, or in the node and to-do pages. Then we have our push up menu, return to the top. As you can see, on click, node to list scroll to the top, so it has a function to scroll to the top automatically, so I don't have to program much. Then we have a vertical scroll decorator that may become handy when you have large lists. I want to scroll a little bit. And then we come to the elements itself. So this is basically a delegate. So we delegate them. Every item should look like this. So every entry in our model should look like this. And this is basically our item in here. As you can see, we have the my list item in here. We have some properties for the context menu. So if you hold and press for a long time, normally a context menu should appear, and that allows you to remove something, and therefore we created a remove function, or I created a remove function that just simply deletes from the model my index, so the one that I just simply hold and pressed long, this index, and it's executing a removal function, and this removal function has a nice little animation that's down here, the removal component, and here you can see the property animation, the number animation. For 5 seconds it's just simply waiting, and then it's delaying the remove, and then it's really removing the entry. And then of course it's also removing the entry from our database. As you can see here, DB is our database. Let's go to the top to show you this. We have a config.js file, which is a JavaScript file, and this one is controlling our database. And yeah, this is basically simple JavaScript SQLite bridge to our database, and I can show you this. It's here under config.js. You can see lots and lots of SQLite commands basically, but it's very, very easy to handle if you have a slightest queue of SQLite a little bit. This really was the hardest part in programming all of the stuff, figuring out all the how to create the table, where to put the indexes, and so on. This was the hardest stuff to do. So creating this little database and asking all the stuff from the database. But it's very, very easy if you done it for the first time. On the second time it's very easy. So let's go back to the first page. We have then of course our item itself, the content item. Then we have some actions, just like, or signals here on press and hold. We want to show the context menu. What if you click on one of the entries, it will just ask for the type. If it's a node, it will just simply ask all the database stuff, or it will ask the database to put in all the stuff in our new node QML. So we're opening up the node QML page, and we will just simply give this page with parameters the title and the node itself, so it will automatically have then the correct node read from the database. If it's in to-do, we only ship the title, because we have then a for loop basically running through all the to-dos that are in one to-do entry. I hope this is understandable. Let me show you. I will show you this later on in I think to-do QML, where you can see this exactly. And then we have a label, of course, with our title, which is basically the title of the to-do or node. And we have some, of course, options for this label. For example, we can change the color. If I'm pressing down with my finger or my mouse, in this case, it's changing the color of the label itself. And we have some components, as I told you earlier, the removal component with this nice little animation, and the context menu itself. So here is the delete entry and what simply happens when you click on delete. So let's go to the node page. The node page is not very complicated, as you can see here. We also have the option to just simply bind in our database. So we have our config.js here as database with all the functions to access the database directly. Then we have some properties. The data container, which is a Qt object, which is basically our first page. So we use this Qt object as a container for our first page. So we can, with the parameter that we gave him, the node QML, where is it? Here. Data container equals root. So we gave this data container our first page object, and this can be every object if you have multiple pages in here. Then we have our property string node title text and node text, and those are simply other parameters that we have that we can give our node QML so that it automatically can display a node title and a node text. So let's go to our node, and as you can see here we have two elements. Basically we have our title element and we have our text field in here. So net text field is our title in here, and our text area basically is our where we put our node basically. And we have of course the push or the pull down menu, and the pull down menu needs to be in a Cilicia flickable, otherwise we need to put it in a list view or something. So the list view automatically has a pull down menu option, otherwise you need to use a Cilicia flickable, which is basically you can flick from right to left, left to right, up to down, down to up. So this is basically just an element that you need to have to show the pull down menu and the pull up menu if you want to. And this pull down menu only has one item, which is the save item, which allows you to save the node directly by calling the set node from the database. So from our config.js, it's simply setting up the node title and the node text and saving it into the database. And then of course, if data container is not null, which is normally the case if I create a new node, it will then also add this node to the list of our first page. Then we have a component on completed, which is very nice. So if you give the parameter, so if you open up our test node, you give the parameter title and the node text, and this is basically asking if you completed all your stuff in creating the page. Check if there is any title or if there is any text in our parameters, and if there is, then just simply set our node title text to the node title text and our node text to the node text parameter. Then we have a column where we put our text field with the node title. So this node title here, test. And you can see I'm just simply tricked a little bit to get this left, to get it right from the page indicator in here. So this page indicator is clickable, so you can go to the first page. Or you can just simply swipe. As you can see here, I can also swipe a little bit to see my first page, but it's not showing the contents of the first page. It's just simply an indicator to go back to the first page, as you can see. I positioned this a little bit and tricked a little bit, and had a placeholder text in here. So if nothing is in there, you can see the placeholder text, title of node, and you can just simply type in something. And the same goes for the text area in this case. Put node in here. If I just simply delete everything, then you have a placeholder text in here. It's automatically focusing our text area so that it can automatically start writing our node, which is pretty nice. And of course, some width and heights options in here, as well as an anchor to the node title bottom, so this text area won't appear on top of our title, which is basically everything. So this is basically the whole node QML page. Very easy, and as you can see here, not very much to code. This is really easy. So the hardest stuff, I think, is some properties in here. There's really nothing to code. There's on-clicked perhaps that you need to code, that you need to set or call the database stuff in here. Everything else is just simply positioning the elements, and this is simply everything. So now let's go to the to-do QML, the to-do page basically, which is a little bit complicated, or perhaps I did it a little bit complicated, I'm not quite sure. But as you can see here, we have also some properties in here. We have an item property for our context menu, which is necessary for accessing the context menu, but this is not very interesting. Then we have our property data container, Qt object again, so to have access to our first page and adding basically our to-do that we created to the list of the first page. And we have then a string, the to-do title text, which is the only parameter that we gave our to-do, because we have lots and lots and lots and lots of to-do entries in our to-do list basically, or we could have lots and lots, so we don't want to give them as parameters. We just want to have a for cycle or basically a for loop in our to-do QML that, or in our database itself, that is adding those to-do list entries to our to-do page. So this comment is nonsense. This is a copy and paste error, as you can see. Component uncompleted. So if everything is completed, the page, the to-do page is loaded, you have to check if you have a title. If you don't have a title, then or if you have a title, then just simply put the title text into the title bar. So into let's go to the do. So into here. So put the text into here if you have a title text, and get all the to-dos for this title. This is basically the db get to-do option. If you go to config.js, where we have this get to-do. Where do we have it? There we have it, get to do. So what it will just simply do is just simply go in a for loop over all to-dos and statuses that we save. So because we also not only save the to-do entry itself, but also the status, so if it's checked or not checked. And then just simply put it to, or add it to the to-do page. Very easily done. A little bit of magic in here with JavaScript and a little bit of SQL light knowledge, and this is everything that you need to create something like this. And then it's getting all the to-dos, to-do entries for our to-do page. Then we have, of course, our to-do model, which is basically the model that we are using for our list view, because we have the to-do list entries basically are simply put it in a list. Guess what? Yeah, this is basically then the action that is called in the config.js to add the to-dos to the list, and then we have our text field. This is a little bit interesting because I put my text field, so the header basically with the today in here, for example, which gets basically the title of my to-do. I put this in the list view, and the list view has a nice option called header, and this header is something, as you can see here, header, and I created a component, the text field component, to just simply put this component in my header. And I created this because I wanted to just simply don't mess around with facility applicable and a list view, because then sometimes you can get just simply complicated stuff that is overlapping each other, and then all the different swipe gestures are not recognized very well. So I just simply thought this would be the best way to do. And as you can see here, I'm creating this list header component, and then I'm just simply on complete, I'm just simply giving this the to-do page list header text field item basically, which is here, so that you can just simply automatically access my component by just simply typing in list header text field, which is just only for the programming stuff, to get the title, and so put the title in there where you want it, and to just simply call or set the text of my header in here. Then we have our Sailfish list view, nothing fancy in here. We have a placeholder, we have our header in here, we have our pull down menu here where you can save but also insert a new to-do. Inserting a new to-do is just simply adding an entry to our to-do model, an empty entry in this case. As you can see here, to-do is the option, and then there's the text, and status is the status of the to-do list entry, and 0 means not checked and 1 means checked, so very easy. Then we have a push up menu, of course, return to the top, again to-do list, scroll to the top, a vertical scroll decorator again, and then we have our delegate item where we put our context menu again, just like we know it from our first page, the remove function. And then the only interesting part, I think, is the text field in here. So we have a text field, so if you go to the to-do, you can see this is the text field, and besides that we place a switch, and the switch just simply changes either when our status variable is changed by a DB call, by a database call, or when you click on this, it will just simply automatically change the status to 1 and now to 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, very easily. And what I implemented in here, because I'm quite not sure how this might work, that I press and hold on this text field a little bit longer to show a context menu. It's not possible, I think. At least I was messing around with an Sailfish flickable again and a mouse area, and this just simply did not work the way I wanted it to be. But if you have any opinions, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, and or if you have any suggestions on how to do this a little bit better, you can do so. You can just simply write a comment underneath this video, and I will start answering, I think. What I just simply added in here is an on press and hold. So if you press a little bit longer on this check or switch, it will just simply create the context menu for you. You can just delete this if you want to. Tap on it to cancel. It worked. Yeah, this is basically this, and yeah, this is basically everything for my application, and you can see it's very, very easily done. So I created a node and a to-do application in, I think, 2 days, and the most of the days or the most time I spent was just simply writing this config.js file and with all the SQLite stuff. So you need a little bit need to know a little bit about SQLite, otherwise you will run into problems. But this is very easily done, and QML is a very, very powerful language. It's not only used by Sailfish OS, so if you don't like Sailfish OS, you can just simply start with QML and Qt Quick. Either with Sailfish OS, there's Ubuntu, Phone OS also shipping, or also basing their technologies on QML. In this case, it's a new QML version, Qt Quick 2.0 from Qt 5, but it does not matter very much. So this is basically a good starting point if you want to write mobile applications for a free alternative operating system, just like Sailfish OS or Ubuntu Phone OS or KDE Plasma Active or something like this. It's very, very easy, very, very handy. And as you can see here, I created a whole application in 2 days with little to nothing coded, basically, really, and without even touching C++ or something like this. And it's running fully under Sailfish OS, which is pretty nice. And you can do some other stuff, just like, for example, you can with the option to just simply get JavaScript code in there and use this JavaScript code and functions in there. You can just simply create Flickr applications by the way, or you can create Facebook applications, online applications, all the nice graphical user interfaces for online services and so on, very, very easily under Sailfish OS with QML and JavaScript. And I think this is really, really nice programming language. And this was my short little introduction and a little how-to on my first application for the Sailfish OS called Noto. And I hope you enjoyed this little demonstration and screencast. And I think there are some interesting stuff, some interesting code examples in the Sailfish SDK, which you can just simply open up and take a look at it. And especially the media viewing stuff and so on. You have of course the option to create a video player, to create a music player and so on, to create even a soundboard if you'd like to, which is my idea, my next idea, what I want to do. And there are lots and lots of stuff, lots and lots of ideas that you can just simply put into realizing, basically, or into a release very easily, very fast with the Sailfish SDK, and I'm really happy to use this. And yeah, this is basically my little introduction to Sailfish OS SDK and a little how to program for the Sailfish operating system.